Good evening and welcome. On the occasion of International Men's Day, which is scheduled on 19 November, we are celebrating International Men's Week, and so we have organized a patient-centric series of web talk. Today is day 2, and we'll discuss today on premature ejaculation. Is it suitable? And it's a great pleasure to introduce today's speakers, Dr. Sanjay Pandey. Dr. Sanjay is the head andrology and reconstructive urology at Kokilaben Dhirubhai Ambani Hospital in Mumbai. His area of interest are genitourinary reconstruction, andrology, female urology, and urology, gender reassignment surgery, robotic urology, and botulinum toxin in urology, etc. I welcome Dr. Sanjay in this web platform, and I am sharing the dice with you, sir. So,
Good evening,
so
Dr. Shovik. Good evening.
in,
Nice to have you back again here. Go ahead, please.
yeah, the first question is, what is the difference between erectile dysfunction and premature ejaculation?
Wonderful. So, we started yesterday the International Men's Health Day campaign by a series of webinars, friends. It's nice to be live with you. The kind of questions Dr. Shovik did present yesterday were the questions that you had posted to him as a result of the request that was for this kind of a webinar series, which could help us out. That we did discuss with our youngsters and young colleagues in the society about what kind of erectile dysfunction issues need to be known to our colleagues in society. We just move forward today to this important topic of premature ejaculation, a topic which is so much shrouded in mystery and so much into misconceptions around. So the first question that you asked, Dr. Shovik, I'm thankful to you for having brought about a difference in the two topics. Erectile dysfunction and premature ejaculation, they are different. Erectile dysfunction is all about inability to attain or maintain an erection towards a satisfactory coitus or a sexual activity. So, if you either cannot attain or cannot maintain that act altogether, that means you cannot be rigid and tumescent enough to perform with your partner. That is called erectile dysfunction. That's ED.
Yes.
Premature ejaculation is about you getting an erection. Erection is possibly capable enough, but you probably leak out or you probably have an ejaculation earlier than you or your partner would like. So, in one, you cannot attain or cannot maintain an erection, erectile dysfunction. On the other, you get an erection. So, those who get an erection and are good enough and suddenly would lose it out before the possible time that he or his partner would like is called premature ejaculation. So,
Yes.
erectile dysfunction could lead to probably premature ejaculation. That means if you have erectile dysfunction and you are still wanted to continue to happen yourself with your partner, you may probably ejaculate earlier. It may be an anxiety, an incapability, and quite amount of stress that you may be. So, erectile dysfunction is the bottom or the crux over which all the other pillars surround it. And premature ejaculation is about losing an erection earlier than normal because you leaked or you ejaculated.
Okay, thank you. Next question is, ejaculation is not something that can be controlled. What is your opinion, sir?
So, ejaculation is quite an intricate mechanism. It's a mechanism again which rests on multiple factors. Up there, the psychological factors, because you have that kind of a feeling, you are into a focused act called the sexual act. And as you are in a capability with your partner, you are unable to control it because there's a possibility of various other factors interplaying, which includes everything anxiety, one, the organ sensitivity, two, the relationship, the stress, the performance capability, all that around. So, ejaculation is a kind of a situation which can be controlled. The control comes by learning and by practice. So I always say practice makes you perfect. Everybody could have a premature ejaculation on the first time because they never knew the act. There is so much of sensitivity, so much of anxiety. Things actually can go wrong. A man who is very capable alone to be able to perform longer in a solo activity called masturbation may not be the same when it comes to partnership, but it is also about pleasing himself and the partner, and therefore it's a couple phenomena now compared to a solo phenomenon. So control is something which we have intricate. The control can go away if we possibly are not capable enough on all aspects that we are. That means our mind, our focus, our set, and possibly our penile sensitivity is not too much. If all those things play against us, we may possibly lose a control. And control that we gain over lifetime is an acquired phenomenon. Some people may have it acquired earlier, but majority of them acquire, and therefore I say practice makes you perfect.
Yeah, thank you. So the next question is, premature ejaculation is purely a psychological problem. Is it a fact or the myth?
Oh, no, 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 no. Let us not label all premature ejaculation as a psychological phenomenon. That's not true.
Okay.
Because there is an aspect of psychology for sure, but there's also an aspect of the organ which is called the penile sensitivity. The organ tip actually becomes more sensitive when it's in erect state compared to a flaccid state. Under normal conditions, when you're not having a focused sexual activity, the organ is flaccid and the sensitivity of the tip of the shaft is very, very minimal. The glands on the penile head or the cap has got a very high degree of sensitivity normally when it's erect. All the nerve fibers, which are more than what could have on the brain, could actually then sprout enough and probably give you that kind of a sensitivity, which sometimes can be difficult to control in the ambience of a partner who's also looking at the fruitful combination of the activity, which is called sexual intercourse. So, the aspect of the premature ejaculation again rests on pillars where psychology is the important aspect, stress, performance capability, the kind of evolution that you have had around, and the kind of organ display of the sensitivity that actually happens. All these combined together, so it's just not psychological. It's in the mind, obviously. Your mind is active, your mind is focused, but the focus sometimes goes completely distraught.
Yeah, right. The next question comes is, premature ejaculation is not a common sexual dysfunction. What is your opinion, sir?
That isn't true. That is not true. Premature ejaculation is one of the commonest sexual dysfunctions, not ED, but sexual dysfunctions known to mankind. Men always have been very capable in getting an erection, but when they see their partner, when they touch their partner, when they have the first few strokes, when they penetrate in the early part, they can leak out. And as I said, this is as common as 30 to 40% in world population around. So men do suffer. It can either be situational, it can either be a primary phenomena which always been there. It can have recovered for reasons around in terms of partner participation and therapies, but can come back again. So it is a common phenomena. I personally feel that premature ejaculation has gone an evolution of within a man. A man who had a premature ejaculation initially learned techniques, learned partnership, was counseled and probably treated, but still can get an ejaculation issue much later in life. So it is not something which is uncommon. It is quite common. Men complain. Unfortunately, they don't complain. They live with it. They continue to live in agony. They continue to live. And therefore,
Yes.
today's program is so important, Dr. Shavik, that we are
Yeah.
enthusing people who had erectile dysfunction, who are youngsters on yesterday's program that you actually played live on the YouTube in Lupin India. And something where a lot of people logged in and few questions and few requests came in today too. And today, when you are live and that goes on to stay on the channel, people need to know that shying away from a problem is not a cure to a problem. You're looking at
Right.
cure, you're just not looking at treatment. So
Right.
if you are an impossible man where you are having a premature ejaculation, you got to become a possible man with no premature ejaculation. That can only happen when you have that kind of a strength to go and probably meet the right doctor, get the right therapy, open up your subject, be honest to your doctor, and get it sorted out. So
Very right.
premature ejaculation is common. It's completely treatable and curable, provided you and I look at reaching the right doctor in the right location in right time.
Okay. Next question is, premature ejaculation is a young man's problem. It is a myth or fact, sir?
Not necessary. As I said, obviously, a young man is anxious, a young man is starting his activity, a young man is the one who would probably take it to the next level of performance. When we look at that aspect, we know that he may be so anxious. Performance anxiety is one aspect where both erectile dysfunction and premature ejaculation play a strong part. Don't forget, he's not alone. He's with a partner who could be equally demanding or who could be equally capable and receptive. In that situation, the entire sensitivity, the entire anxiety, all those things happen around. So, for a young man who has not been a performer in the past, who has been an infrequent performer, and who has got partners only in need, may actually have a premature ejaculation related directly to his incapability or a non-learned behavior or a new behavior altogether. As regards somebody who is middle-aged and elderly, he can have a premature ejaculation with one partner and not with other partner. In one circumstance and not in other circumstance. He could have somebody can have middle-aged and elderly people can have a premature ejaculation related to again the anxiety, have not performed in not many days, months, or years, and suddenly has to perform. That anxiety could actually uh, bell the cat completely. There's a possibility that such kind of individuals need to be counseled. Such kind of individuals will have a lot of anxiety issues.
Right.
Non-performance can bring about an anxiety. Non-performance can bring about a sensitivity. All these things happen. So we get people who are in their 50s, 60s coming up with secondary premature ejaculation after having been good with an intermittent performance and suddenly develop this is a new onset phenomenon compared to somebody who comes quite late after decades of continuing premature ejaculation. So ignorance is no bliss. and to possibly not take the right therapy in right time is also no bliss. Young age youngsters do develop because they are probably learning, and learning on this organ's activity on umpteen aspects to control is a focus stack, and many a times the focus may be lost in attempt to probably salvage the whole activity and probably get your partner the benefit out of it. You miss out the whole thing. So remember, performance anxiety is a very very common phenomenon. It actually happens to people around middle
Yeah.
age, elderly, all could get
Okay.
at different circumstances with different partners in different times and different locations altogether.
Yeah. That's nice. There is the next question: is premature ejaculation decreases with age? Is it true, sir?
Uh, Not necessary. It cannot just be weighted to be decreased with age. In other words, premature ejaculation is a phenomena which is a phenomena of an erection capability, and then a performance capability. During the performance time, if one is not able to probably hold the ejaculation because the ejaculation happens prematurely before you and your partner got the right result, then it's directly related to the loss of ejaculation, which has nothing to do with aging. Aging is a graceful phenomena where the hormones go down. Aging is a phenomena where your charm with your partner and possibly capability may go down. But aging is not something where the premature ejaculation would automatically go down. In that situation, we could have just waited and probably got that sorted out. So, no, not necessarily. It is a capability of a balanced mind where a focused mind and a focused team of partnership is going on. During that time, the learned behavior has not been great. So the learned behavior will only come with practice and only come with partner participation and with therapies as needed in such situations. Because something which is going wrong can only continue to go wrong if it is not corrected. And it
Yes.
nothing will happen with age alone. Therefore, practice makes a man perfect. Seeking help in time is what is required. Otherwise, you leave it ignored and probably untreated even at middle age and old age too.
Yeah. Thank you. So the next question comes is alcohol, cocaine, marijuana, and antidepressants are good ways to control premature ejaculation. Is it a fact, sir?
You talked about drugs, and we'll not
Yes.
look into drugs as any kind of. So marijuana and cocaine is not to be discussed as a part of
Hmm.
any kind of a social a
Yeah.
therapy network around. So basically, if you are into any kind of an addiction, Dr. Sovik,
Hmm.
there's a high possibility that you actually may have a little bit of trance in your mind. You may actually be in a situation your capability may be lesser, but you may possibly be able to delay organism. But that's not a kind of a treatment to premature ejaculation. That is not a
Yeah.
therapy to a
Right.
premature ejaculation. Some people who are probably performing
Hmm.
under normal states, under normal kind of conditions, under normal partnerships, and may not
Hmm.
able to hold the ejaculation under the influence of alcohol, under the influence of addictions that they may have, they possibly be able to delay orgasm. The delay can be happening around just because of the kind of delays in their entire cognitive effect that happens when you are deeply into that aspect. Remember that. So alcohol may probably delay the orgasm, but it is not a therapy or not possibly a panacea towards a kind of a promotion or a kind of a therapy towards premature ejaculation. So as regards other stuff which you talked about, all which are drugs in today's world, and which actually are those class of issues which cannot be a therapy. They
Yeah.
are not the ones which are going to help you out anyway, so they don't work in our favor. So smoking and alcohol as such bring about erectile dysfunction of different kind of sets of issues. Your
Yes.
focus gets lesser on alcohol, number one, and therefore you may delay the orgasm. Remember, one of the ways to actually treat a premature ejaculation is to defocus.
Yes.
While you are completely focused around, you look at distracted thinking, you distract yourself, and that
Hmm.
distraction can much happen in alcohol. Alcohol
Yeah.
distracts you from a main focus, because remember, sexual activity is a very focused act. You're
Yes.
focusing into a capability of an organ. So that is what is phenomenon. So alcohol can delay organism, cannot be a therapy for, and cannot be a treatment or a panacea or kind of a promotion towards any kind of a premature ejaculation.
Right. Thank you. So the next question comes is partners of men with premature ejaculation suffers great trauma. What is your opinion on this, sir?
Absolutely. You have actually spoken the right word. I think you got a question from somewhere. This is
Uh,
awesome. All the time we are concentrating today on International Men's Health
mm,
and Men's Day.
mm,
We should not forget the partners. Partners are so important. I mean, your partnership is what you're talking about. The kind of phenomena of infertility and of erectile dysfunction is not a solo phenomenon. So
mm,
partners do suffer in trauma and stress. While Remember, you have got an ejaculation and orgasm. You, as a male, probably have been able to complete your personalized part of the act, but you're not left your patient of your partner to that result that the partner desires. And partners, remember, women have a different kind of entire cycle of orgasm and the entire sexual cycle
Yeah.
which goes into their stimulation and arousal.
Yeah.
You leaving them high and dry is a kind of a phenomena which possibly could lead to a kind of a trauma where she on the other side could probably accept it, probably could live with it a day, a week, a month, a year, but not for a
Yeah.
decade. In other words, you leave a kind of a trauma which is sadly so much unspoken of. It's unspoken that a premature ejaculation on the male counterpart, the effect of that on the female counterpart, you can only look at the partner satisfaction score. When you look at that, you understand the partner satisfaction score is not zero, it's minus. So it leaves a huge amount of trauma mentally. Because remember, at the end of it, while the man has actually come out of it, he has got the orgasm, he has got the relief, he's got that kind of a phenomena where he has said, I'm done with it. The partner has got nothing. She is
Right.
left quite engorged and quite in a different situation. So the trauma is both physical and mental, and this trauma can only be a vicious cycle for the partner. So all the partners may go through a situation where they may continue to have trouble around. Premature ejaculation is something which you need to think into as a phenomena where if I have a premature ejaculation as an individual male today, young in the society, I would look at getting into a phenomena where I would focus myself into bringing a partnership much better. And that can only happen if I improve myself. That improvement is almost warranted. And then we need to
Right.
look into that aspect. We'll have to climb ladders to do the couple phenomena of understanding together, maybe individually alone as a male or as a partner, seek that help and seek that possibly. So first, a confidence building between you and your partner because she's going through the trauma while you have actually as a male got your result of a result that you got it. You did not could not satisfy your partner, which is a sad situation of 30 to 60% of males in the early years. They probably have gone through it. They've actually continued to have it till they actually understand or realize the trauma. Or to many a times, the partner actually seek help. Many times, the male actually may not have seek help too. So there are many ramifications to it. If there are our colleagues on the society who are actually watching this program, they would know that many women actually take appointments for the urologist, andrologist in the city and said, my gentleman is not able to perform. He's gentle enough, but he probably loses out much early. And therefore, it is important for us to look into that aspect. Trauma to a partner is immense when it's premature ejaculation. Because it's not one where a tablet or a therapy can treat it. It's a phenomena which you have to reverse. You get to a kind of a downslide by having a premature ejaculation. You got to reverse the entire phenomenon. So therefore, you need to look at the trauma thoroughly well. That's a good question, Dr. Sawik.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. And the next question comes is, what is the change in premature ejaculation presentation? What we are observing today?
Okay. Okay, so I think the modern lives and modern era with the modern pandemic, I think things are changing on a regular basis.
Yes.
Whatever you saw yesterday will be something tomorrow. I said
Yes.
yesterday the world is at crossroads, and similarly a man is at crossroads who is coming out from a solo phenomena to a partnership phenomenon. When he does that, many times he actually could be lost. For example, when he was performing as a solo in masturbation, when he was not into partnership alone, he could probably get an erection, which was capable enough. He could probably get a stimulation. He could also get an ejaculation. All this was good enough.
Mm.
And suddenly you find the same man getting into a partnership when he understands he's completely a cropper, he's not able to perform. He's losing
Yeah.
it out. And this is a very, very common kind of a phenomenon I see. So that's the first change I see where young men who leave from a solo participation or masturbation of any kind around and go to a partnership which could be a premarital partnership, or it could be a marital partnership where they get married and find themselves completely not able to. That's the first change I see as age related change in individuals. Number one. Number two, let's see the era of change. So, as I said yesterday too, as erectile dysfunction is getting not commoner, but is being picked up or being anxious about in much younger individuals in 20s and 30s, which was not the phenomena a decade or 2 decades ago when we practiced around. It is such an important aspect to look at how does this get sorted out. And therefore, one needs to look at that youngsters do come with an expectation which is beyond 100%. You can only have expectation within the garb of your boundary. But if you have an expectation where you want to last till the partner lasts and beyond the partner lasts, or you want to get exhausted till you last and anything around. So that kind of an exception which is exponential expectations sometimes becomes difficult. So we're seeing a lot of people coming up with an expectation which is higher. So one was change from a a masturbation to a couple phenomena, and you find there's a massive change and you completely can't adapt to it. Number two, youngsters coming with a phenomena where in early 20s, 20s and 30s, where they have one partner or multiple partners, they fail with this partner or that partner, they come and complain. Then there are those individuals who are on a completely stable lifestyle, and that lifestyle goes for a toss because they've not performed for days, weeks, months, or even years, possibly because between the pregnancies, between their maturing years, and they are quite anxious. They come with something called as secondary premature ejaculation. That means they were good enough, they were stable, they somehow managed, they got a married life, they got children, they stopped performing, and then they come back suddenly and find, oh my God, I'm just completely proper. I can't hold on. My partner who's mature enough wants to have a performance fails. So presentations in today's world are changing because of umpteen phenomena. A patient who is too much well read on the Google possibly expects a magic across the table on day one with me at the Kokilam Dhirubhai Ambani Hospital in Mumbai, and all my colleagues across. I see these patients very frequently. They come with anxiety. They're not able to speak up. They come and say that I have got erectile dysfunction. That's something which I need to wake up to. Therefore, the kind of presentations today are umpteen. They are presenting in many ways. Many times, it is a partner who drags the male patient and says that my partner has got everything but a premature ejaculation. So the presentations are umpteen. He presenting or his partner presenting, number one, presenting and trying to hide and trying to not able to tell because he's ashamed about it. So that kind of anxiety, that kind of a guilt or that kind of a stress, that kind of a performance issue, all those things bring about an issue which we need to look into. Premature ejaculation is not easy to treat, and therefore anybody who has a premature ejaculation, as today is an audience, please don't postpone it to a tomorrow, a better day, or after New Year, or after Holi or Diwali. You have got a trouble, you got to seek help earlier the better, because this is something where your presentation on the day you come to a doctor or you come to the Kokilaben hospital and see me, on that day perhaps the result may not come immediate. We have to learn a phenomena and undo a lot of things which has been done, and the cascade has gone down that mountain on the slope. You got to pull that back with a little difficulty. Therefore, the presentations are many. In each presentation of premature ejaculation you have, Dr. Shavik, you have many more presentations which is hidden, where people don't present.
Right,
Today,
right.
you and I on this very important platform, which Lupin India has made for the whole week, where people could get to understand, feel comfortable, and then get enthused to go and see their andrologists and urologists in their cities and their hospitals, or come in Mumbai to us to Kokilaben Hospital and get the therapy which is done in Department of Urology by us. I'm only looking at many presentations where people don't tell, many presentations where people don't hide, but they're ashamed of it. They're going through a stress of it. Their partnerships are going for a toss, and therefore it's important for us to look at that very, very emphatic, important phenomena where we enthuse them today that please don't sit back, make hay while sun shines. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Next question is, what are the therapies that are available today for premature ejaculation, and can you put some light on any conservative treatment available nowadays?
Okay, so before I come to that, that's a great question. Actually, you actually taken me to the very important level. The diagnosis of premature ejaculation does not require a test. Many times, people do a list of hormone tests, this test and that test, and a modern patient brings and shows me so many reports. I don't need that. All I need is you and I speaking across the table and being honest to each other. It's also nice to bring your couple around and your partner around and let her listen to our talk. She is more truthful than you are, and it's such an important issue. Many a times, men are not able to speak. Not that they tell lies; they never tell lies. But they are going through a trauma where how much to speak, how much to open up to a doctor, how much to open up to a lawyer or a police is not easy all the time. And therefore, it's so much of a confidence building we do across to help them out. Now, when we look at treatment, we know that we're not treating any reports, we're treating the man in question, who otherwise is a normal man. He could be a man on the street, he could be a man who is a high flying executive, he could be a man who is otherwise normal on all aspects. He's afraid and he's ashamed to come and talk to you. And he's one of the
Yes.
youngsters in the audience. So, when that happens around, it is important for us to look into sorting it out. And that important aspect of premature ejaculation or Shigra Patan is what people call about,
Yeah.
we got to look at treat it. So, as you rightly said, the conservative treatments and the aggressive treatments, hand holding the journey of treating them is building their confidence, telling them nothing is wrong. There's nothing is wrong. Everybody is born with a premature ejaculation, is what you tell them. Any and every celebrity you know had a premature ejaculation. So don't worry, please. In other words, you build their confidence dramatically across the table. Over the first n number of minutes, that's where he opens up and tells you more of his episodes, and that's where he is able to speak up. When he does that, you got to identify which of the three will help him out. Is it a behavioral therapy which will help him out?
Yeah.
That means we need to change a lot of things on the lifestyle, on the bed, in the partnership, or do we need to do a counseling as a therapy in those patients where there's a performance anxiety, there is an issue with stress, with guilt, with trauma, with all that goes around, or there is something to do with the penile sensitivity, where a touch or a feel is bad enough, or there is something organic around. So you got to look at identifying these factors. Remember, for a premature ejaculation, there is almost no surgery. Long back, we did some surgery for refractory premature ejaculation in very few patients. So there's no surgery for this. It is all hovering towards conservative therapy, which is counseling, which is behavioral therapy, which is treating them forward, and it's possibly going to the next level, the level which we call as Sicily as a medical management around. So the therapies are obviously step ladder approach or a tri-prong approach on behavioral therapy, counseling them, getting our colleagues on the psychiatry and clinical psychology to help them out, or we could put them on the medical management. We also look at changing a lifestyle dramatically in terms of alcohol and addictions and all that stuff around. So
Yeah.
putting a light on the conservative therapy is all about helping them out and treating them.
Thank you. So, as we know, doctor, one therapy does not fit all. So, what is your way of managing this premature ejaculation in the patients in 20s, 30s, or 60s?
Got it completely. That was actually a good question. I like that. So, 20s, 30s are much youngsters. They are the ones who actually have never learned a phenomena. They're too early and they are performing quite infrequently. They don't have a stable partner, or their partners only need, or they have change of partners. Remember, so penile sensitivity is something which we need to look into, and the sensitivity can be decreased by looking at various kinds of therapies that we practice are called numbing medication. We make this very highly sensitive penile cap or the glans penis a little more numb. You don't want to make it completely numb, but you do those kind of numbing therapies around. The one of the numbing therapies which I would say patients always teach me is the use of a barrier contraceptive or condom. Remember, a condom is one where you have an interface between you and your partner. Once that happens around, you actually are decreasing the sensitivity of the glands dramatically. So people just said, I did this, doctor, and I'm doing very well. And that's one aspect looking at it. But for those who don't use condoms, it is important to do an anti-numbing therapy by using lignocaine or a xylocaine jelly. The sprays available in the market, whatever, are great stuff to be used. They should be very careful about using the right kind of therapy. Sometimes they can have a high sensitivity on that. Sometimes it could cause a reaction too. Therefore, it's always in the medical domain to be prescribing those kind of numbing therapies where we numb the glands, which is actually very sensitive, too hypersensitive. So that's one therapy. Now look at the important aspect of looking at those issues where I want to bring about a behavioral change on them in the partnership where everything is going well. Then I would look at all those therapies. One is start and stop therapy. One
Yeah.
is a squeeze therapy, and one is a distracted thinking or a defocusing from the activity that you are so focused and doing so well. You want to last longer. You want to last longer with a good erection and with no ejaculation. That's what your aim is. If you want to do that, you're actually going to work hard to prevent yourself from doing that. So, behavioral therapy is an important aspect of my therapy. I spend some time counseling myself. Tell them and tell their partner to look at stop and start. Stop and start is all about looking at you start and suddenly you slow down. You bring about a delay in your thrusts. You bring about a delay in the focused kind of an activity which you're progressing to a higher level.
Yeah.
The squeeze therapy is where your partner helps you to squeeze the organ, the tip of the organ in time before you would actually look at almost coming to ejaculate. And that's the way you have actually defocused the whole aspect around. You come back again at attempt a coitus. And as it looks like that you would possibly be again ejaculating, the partner takes charge and probably again squeezes the glands in such a way that you squeeze around, you decrease the activity. So these are all stop and start, squeeze therapy, and then comes your distracted thinking or defocusing around. You defocus completely from that. While you do
Okay.
all that, you also want to do a medical therapy, and that's where we have those therapies today, where we use the medications. Medications more commonly have been offline tricyclic antidepressants like clomipramine, the older drug and a very wonderful drug to use it. But the new drug which has come in around, which we have used for the last close to a decade right now, plus decade plus, are the SSRIs focused around. And you use depoxetine, rightly again, it can't be off the counter and therapy where people can try it. There has to be a medical way to give it, and therefore your doctor has to look at it to how to give it. Otherwise, taking a medicine, not knowing when to take, how to take, what dose to take, you probably would fail. So that's an important aspect of looking at a composite therapy where you look at behavioral, you look at counseling, where those patients who have got counseling requirement. So some people who have gone through a trauma in their sexual life, some people who are quite guilty about it, some people who go through a lot of stress, partly because of relationship issue and partnership issue, some people who actually have got a performance anxiety and would fail whatever you do. These people require a counseling. Many times I may not be the best counselor, though I spend time around. Julius may not be probably because it requires heavens of knowledge and the kind of aptitude towards counsel patients and couples who are actually distraught. Many times I may use a psychiatric or a psychologist help around, but I do it myself many a times person. Many of our urology colleagues may not find time for doing it because they are between operation theaters and OPDs, and that's something where we need to look at spending time. So, in a very focused clinic, we do a counseling, a behavioral therapy, the medications, closely follow them, look at escalating their therapy and de-escalating. Also, don't forget, we also need to look at something called as erectile dysfunction, which needs to be treated with.
Thank you, doctor. Doctor, last question is whom to consult for premature ejaculation? Whom to consult?
Whom to consult for premature ejaculation?
Yes, yes.
Sitting here is a man or a urologist. A urologist is capable of managing a male organ and male organs problems around. So all audience who watch you today from all over the country and the world need to know that your urologist in your city. That means my colleagues who belong to the Urology Society of India, and there are 275 of them in this city in Mumbai, who actually would be focused into the act, would like to look at. For possibly somebody who deals with cancer, somebody who deals with incontinence, somebody who deals with reconstruction may not be deeply interested. But individuals like me who have gone deeply focused into these aspects of life, and colleagues who deal with andrological aspect of urology, like me in the department of urology here, and my colleagues in the department out here, we look into the activity of identifying these individuals. So it's a urologist whose job is to look at penile organ deformities, penile organ complaints, and penile organ issues. And premature ejaculation is something which is often. So a urologist is the one who will ask you how long you have had a problem, what kind of circumstances you have a problem, with which partner you have a problem, does every attempt cause you this trouble, does it also be with a erectile dysfunction, how long you have had a problem, and what are the kind of difficulties, what are the emotional states around. At the same time, examines you and looks at your prepuce, looks at your capability, looks at the photograph of your erections around. So it's a urologist who will take care of your premature ejaculation in this country. If anybody has probably dived away from this and not got treated around, it's time for them to wake up. It's important for you to do this. Honors to you and your partner, not to live with her in trauma of both of you silently, because a thin wafer line can become a wall if you probably don't have a communication on this premature ejaculation. So see your urologist in your town, see your uroandrologist who is interested in this. They will take you in the journey and probably treat you and cure you finally.
Right, sir. The specialist is answered. So there's a last, very last question from the audience. So the audience has asked: is this stressful condition leads to premature ejaculation?
Yes, so you're right, Shovik. Your audience needs to be answered on these questions. One of them is a stressful condition leads to a premature ejaculation too. So somebody who is absolutely upright and very good under a stress that he comes from work, he's still tired, but a tiredness and a stress and a kind of a trauma that he had of any kind, a trauma of a fight or trauma of an economic loss, kind of thing. So these are all stresses which could be playing on his mind. He has got into a focus activity with a partner waiting on the bedtime or a midnight kind of a capability that they have. They may have had a small kind of alcohol, they may have had a good dinner with their friends. When they go on to perform, you'll find that he's completely out of his capability. And this is a possibility. So this could happen to people again and again and again, and that could be a very stressful condition, I gather. And that's something we should not leave alone. So that's why we need to identify the factors around. Therefore, we need to look into whom to counsel, whom to give a behavioral therapy, whom to give a medical therapy, or do we combine all the therapies together? Therefore, to identify these individuals is not that they need to go to a psychiatrist or a clinical psychologist. It is me or it's a urologist or a uroenterologist who decides which patient goes where, which patient deserves extra amount of requirement around. Not that I want to put them on psychiatric drugs and make them completely drooling on medications around. We want to put them on lesser amount of medications, more amount of therapy, or escalate them gradually on the requirement that they have over weeks or months, and then de-escalate and then put them on a SOS basis. So it's very important that stressful conditions are de-stress, and therefore partner's role comes a lot. Therefore, we need to help our partner to help the partner to actually help the patient out. Therefore, it's a couple phenomena. Many a times individuals may go and see the urologist alone. I always encourage them to come as a couple. The wife doesn't mind sitting and listening to the trouble that her husband or the partner may be having and helping her out. Very, very important. It's such an important issue that we should not miss out.
Uh, you have answered almost all the questions in the stressful condition. There is one more question. I think you need to add something. I don't know. How the depression and mental health affect the premature ejaculation?
Come again, come again. How does
How
depression,
the,
okay,
yes, yes, affect the premature ejaculation.
how depression or mental health affect women?
Yes, yes,
Wonderful
yes,
question.
yes.
Wonderful. I think we need to answer these questions. Very important. So these audience questions which you have already taken so many in the last 35 minutes. I think we
Yeah.
need to spend few minutes to answer the audience questions too. One of them is yes. So depression and mental health is all who requires counseling, and depressed men are not capable at all. Depressed men may have a poor erection number. They, to satisfy the partner, may attempt to perform with a partial erection, with non-specific erection, and may attempt to ejaculate, and they may ejaculate early because they are so depressed. They are so much into a friable or a very fragile kind of condition. So yes, the mental health has to be very stable for you to be able to do something like drive a car, to be able to see a patient across the table, to be able to be working as a postman, to be doing all these things. Your mental health is completely required. You're performing an act. Similarly, a focused act like a sexual activity in the bed with a partner in the privacy of what you do requires a quite of a focus. That's where your mental health plays because you are with a partner with whom you are every day, with more frequently than occasionally, and therefore mental health has to be quite stable around. You may probably find it very stale and boring at times, and therefore you may probably lose an interest, and all those things are such an important issue. So, one way individually as a male, your mental health, your depression, your psychotic issues, in one way will not make you capable. You lose your capability. It also brings about a trouble to the psychological aspect and the trauma that the partner goes through. Very important that mental health has to be stable, and mental health can be identified by the partner, by us, and if required, we get into counseling sessions. The
Okay.
Shovik, I
Thank you.
see a question: how to stop nightfall? A wonderful question,
Yeah.
actually. I
Yes.
need to answer this. This is an important
Yes.
question.
Yes.
So nightfall, or something which is called as nocturnal, issue where you are sleeping deep at night, and you have a nightfall, which is more common in youngsters and in men who don't masturbate, who don't perform more frequently. They come and come with this kind of a nightfall where they get up at night or get up in the morning with their undergarments soaked in semen, and they're so anxious about it. They're so worried. They go depressed, and I tell them that don't worry. You only produce a kind of a 1 tablespoon of semen is what you can produce. 2.5 to 10 ml is what you can maximum produce.
Yes.
You produce so much and you don't use it.
Hmm.
And when your sphincters are loose, you can actually ejaculate it. So instead of an active ejaculation, there's a passive emission which happens around. So either you do it actively with your partner on or solo masturbation, or passively the emission happens and you leak out. That's one aspect of it. Number two is something called as Dhat syndrome, where people say that I am leaking semen when I'm passing motions, when I am, stressed, and when I'm passing urine, I see a lot of semen coming out, and they're very worried about it. So that's another aspect of Dhat syndrome where people are not able to actually come and talk about. So if you are losing semen here and there, please don't complain that you're turning weak around. Loss of semen doesn't cause weakness. People perform
Yeah.
sexually every day and still continue to be doing well. People perform in masturbation and they still continue to do well in terms of the strength. So strength is not lost because semen is lost. Semen is a byproduct or a produce which
Yeah.
actually comes and collects, and from there, then you actively bring it out, or passively it causes an emission which happens as a nightfall. None of them cause weakness to you. So don't start thinking that you perform sexually every day or every week and you will turn weak. You masturbate and therefore you turn weak and you're guilty about it. It is not true.
Right.
So
Yeah.
ejaculation is an active phenomenon. Emission is a passive phenomenon. Emission can happen in your sleep. Emission can happen without your permission. Ejaculation is something where you are attempting to. It happens a little earlier, and therefore it's called premature ejaculation. Earlier has nothing to do with your minutes and seconds and hours. Earlier is about the satisfaction component which you and your partner need to have to it. That is what it is. So it is important to look at not one medicine can cure everybody. Please believe
Yeah.
me, that's for sure. Not that with a tablet or a pill I give and the fever will go away. It's not true.
Right.
This is not about treating a fever. It's about looking at the phenomena, looking at his mind, looking at his body, looking at his focus, defocusing, counseling, behavioral therapy. It is completely in ambit of a urologist who has taken up ladder and therefore has found scenarios. A scenario of a 20 years man, the scenario of a 30 years man who just married, to somebody who's 40 years completely established, not performed for months or years because of an activity where partners have not, or somebody who's probably going to remarry and is so anxious about it. So all those remarriages which happen around people are more anxious, and anxiety brings and troubles them, and therefore we do look into that kind of aspect too. So it is important to wake up to these phenomena and help each of them to work it around. I just see a
Yeah.
question during
Yeah.
during
Dr.
work
Sachin,
from home,
from
continuous use of
continuous.
laptop
Yeah.
on lap, can that impact on premature ejaculation? I don't think so. I don't think
Yeah.
so. Obviously, there's a heat which happens around. They talk about the mobile phone kept on your pant pockets also can cause trouble to you. Now, something which is being overdone possibly can have. If you're working from home 16 hours a day, keeping your laptop on the lap, you're generating heat for sure. That heat
Yeah.
translates into what kind of stuff? We really don't know. There's not much evidence to talk about. Whatever anecdotal reports are, it doesn't cause premature ejaculation. It will cause
Yeah.
some degree of heating around. Like the varicocele is talked about that it heats something around but doesn't worsen beyond a point in time. So let's not look into that in terms of a causal phenomena, but remember it's an active phenomena which has gone haywire. Premature ejaculation is an active phenomena being pronounced by you and suddenly it goes completely haywire.
Yeah, thank you. So, Dr. Sanjay, we're out of the time. So,
Agree.
so
Agree
huh,
that
yeah,
excitement leads to lose out our early erection. The
yes,
option in this case is to get less excited, get
yeah,
defocused, and do something called what we call as distracted thinking. If you're too excited, mellow down your extraction. Your partner
yeah,
could help you with squeeze therapy. You could do a start and stop therapy. You could see us as urologists who would give you medication which could mellow down. You could use a condom and desensitize your penis. You could use
yeah,
anti-numbing medications, and that is the way the
yeah,
excitement can be brought down in many ways.
yeah. Thank you. So, we are concluding the session today with the permission, Dr. Sanjay. So, today we have discussed, learned, and shared about the evidence and responses needed to achieve a better sexual health of the people. And on behalf of Lupin family, we especially thank you for making this discussion so fruitful and rich. So, tomorrow we are coming up with one more discussion on is sexual health linked to men's health. So, kindly tune at the same time at 8:30 p.m. Okay.
So
Dr.
tomorrow you
Sanjay,
are with this
yeah,
sexual health link with
with
men's health.
men's, yeah,
Completely fine. I'm actually happy, Dr. Shobik, on a very short time of 35 minutes plus, you could take in around
yeah,
35, 40 questions
yeah,
to open up the subject for our colleagues who happen to be the audience today and who are
yeah,
normal men and normal couples around, to help them out into a situation which is all about shame and guilt and anxiety and stress and not able to reach the right doctor. We at
yeah,
Kokilabin Dhirubhai Ambani Hospital salute you all because we do work on this subject also as uroandrologists. Thank you, Lopin India, for having made this subject capable enough to be brought to the society through the kind of media that you are actually taking it. Thank
yeah.
you, everybody,
Thank you.
today. We'll meet up again at 8:30 sharp. Let your
Tomorrow.
colleagues know that this is a program for you where you get
Yeah,
better and better with passing time.
yeah. Thank you. Good night.